Hey everybody, Dr. Jono at Gluck Orthodontics. This is a clinical training video for our team about how to measure angle classification of the molar teeth. That's something that we do at a treatment progress report appointment. We also do that when we remove an expander or something like that. So I've got a few models and I'll show you there are two important landmarks that you're going to use for something like this. The first one is going to be, and you'll see that line right there, let me see, where's the camera, is the mesial buccal cusp of the upper first molar. And then here, the second landmark is going to be the buccal groove of the lower first molar. So anytime you are measuring or evaluating the angle classification of the molars, you will use those two landmarks: lower first molar buccal groove, upper first molar mesial buccal cusp. When the two line up such that when the patient bites down, the mesial buccal cusp of the upper first molar aligns with the buccal groove of the lower first molar, that is what we refer to as a class 1 occlusion. Very, very easy. If the maxillary tooth is more mesial or ahead of the upper tooth, we'll see something like that, that is what we refer to as a class 2 angle classification. If the mandibular tooth is more mesial or anterior, something like this, that's what we would refer to as a class 3 angle classification. There are a couple of different ways to look at it. You can look at it in terms of cusps. So we may say if they're biting right on top of each other, that would be a half cusp class 2. Or if it's all the way kind of one tooth ahead, we may call that a full cusp or a full step class 2. The other way we can measure this, which is a little more accurate, is we can actually measure by millimeters the distance or the discrepancy between the two. So this would be class 1. Let's say if the teeth bite like that, maybe we call that a millimeter class 2. That may be 3 millimeters class 2, and that's more like 4 or 5 or even 6 millimeters class 2. Same thing in reverse. So again, we go back to here. If we call this class 1, if we move the mandibular teeth ahead, that may be 2 millimeters class 3. That's about 4 millimeters class 3. And what you'll see is there's a relationship most of the time between how the back teeth fit together here, so what the posterior occlusion looks like, and the overbite and overjet in the front. So if we have good class 1 occlusion of the posterior teeth, often that's accompanied by normal up and down and forward, backward overlap of the front teeth. So we call that normal overbite or overjet. If we have, we'll just use an example, a full cusp class 2 occlusion in the back, you can see that that's often associated with a large overjet of the anterior teeth. Vice versa, if we do a larger class 3 occlusion in the back, let's see, somewhere like that, that's usually associated with either an anterior underbite or an edge-to-edge occlusion. So you can see how the two come into play. So again, to recap, two big landmarks to look at. Number one, mesial buccal cusp of the upper first molar, buccal groove of the lower first molar, and the relationship between the two is how we determine the molar classification. If they line up right on top of each other, that would be class 1. If the maxillary tooth is ahead or anterior of the mandibular, we'd call that class 2. If it is behind or the mandibular tooth is further ahead or further to the mesial, then we would call that class 3. There you go, angle classification for the molar occlusion.